So hello, welcome back to another video. Now I've literally just finished work this afternoon. I've come down to a mark to hopefully do some mackerel fishing. So last week I went out on a day off of mine, just had a quick blast for an early season mackerel, ended up catching half a dozen, which I was actually a bit surprised about. It's a lot earlier than I was catching them last year, but a really good sign. So I thought today to come back to this mark and give it a little go again. Now the only difference is today we've got a head-on wind. Fortunately it's not too bad, it's about 8 to 10 mile an hour, so I'm going to be sticking on a 40 gram nettle. It is a little big for mackerel. Ideally you want a lure a little smaller, but it's the only 40 grammer I've got. My smaller lures are all 20 grams, which should still punch against this wind fairly well, but I'm going to start with the 40 grammer today. Pop that about, jig it about, and see if we can hook anything. So conditions are pretty overcast, a little bit of chop to the water. The only problem we might have is with that wind blowing on shore, it might just be blowing a bit of weed in, but hopefully we'll be okay. It's fairly sandy here, so it should be relatively clean and the water should be free of weeds, I'm hoping anyway. So that's the plan for the next hour or so. Just going to give it a quick blast. If I do manage to get some mackerel, I might cook them up tomorrow and add it to this video, but we've got to catch them first, so let's get a lure in the water and see what we can find. So that's the lure I'm going to start with. It's a 40 gram Savage Gear slow jig. Now it is actually a little heavy for this rod, but it'll do just fine as long as I don't absolutely ping it out. Casting against that wind, I'm not going to be able to get the usual amount of distance, but hopefully the mackerel, if there are any here, are going to be fairly close in. And we just start by jigging it about and just play around with the retrieves to see what works. Oh yeah, I'm into a fish already. Yes! First cast! You beauty! And that to me feels like a mackerel. Oh, he's going some. Well, what a great start that is. Providing this stays on, we've got something to cook. Oh, he's going some now, bloody hell. Where is it? There it is. God, sometimes these things fight incredibly well. But check that out. First cast, and we're into a mackerel. Absolutely beautiful. So I know there were some mackerel here the other day, but I wasn't expecting to catch one first cast, but there we go. One little mackerel taking on that metal lure. Now I'll give it a knock on the head, get it in a bag, and get it back out there. What a start. Well, what a start that was. First cast in, can't complain with that. I'll let that lure sink. All I did was just bounce it up and down. I mean, I know people don't need to be told how to fish for mackerel, it's very easy. A lot of people do it. It's a great thing to do throughout the summer. And on medium to light gear like I'm using, this is just my normal bass rod, they really do go some. But just popping it about like that and then lower the rod tip a bit, and I'm just jigging it through the water. So all I'm doing is winding in the slack, and then once you feel the weight of the lure, give the rod a twitch, and that lure is just shining and shimmering in the water, waiting to get hit. Now I find sometimes with mackerel, they'll either fight for a little bit and then just give up, or they fight the whole way in. And that's only a small fish, but they feel a lot bigger than what they are. So much fun to have, and obviously good eating as well. I'm going to bounce it close to the bottom, all the way in. See if we pick anything up. There's got to be more around. What you find sometimes is mackerel are always on the move. I mean, sometimes you'll get it where they're just in one spot, but a lot of the time you can sort of be catching and casting that way, then all of a sudden it's that way. Depends. If there's quite a few about, they can be scattered around, or they can just be moving about in a shoal. You never know what they're doing, what they're feeding on, or just got to keep searching. Cover all columns of the water as well. I've had a couple of sessions here when every fish has been really deep, and then you have other times when you see them hitting the surface, and sometimes you're catching them far out, sometimes they're really close in. We got another one. Friggin' hell, this one's going some. Oh, he's off. Bugger. Bugger. I might loosen my drag because that was mental. It's crazy how much these things fight. It really is. I need to loosen the drag because otherwise it's just going to rip the hook out of his mouth. Mad. Both those fish I've caught, as soon as I got them close in, that's when they really start going. I ended up losing quite a few the other day. It's because of the lure, I think. The lure's very big, and to be fair, I was actually fishing a pretty tight drag, so the hook kept ripping out when they were close in like this and they start diving down. They've not got the strongest mouths, mackerel, so there's enough pressure there, or enough tension, sorry, the hook will just rip out its mouth. It is crazy how hard they fight though. If these things were a few pounds, my god, you'd have a fight on your hands, that's for sure. Come on. Oh, he's come off again. I do not believe it. You bugger. Saw that one right down there. So annoying. Just started casting into a different area. That one ended up taking about, I don't know, 10 meters out, close in. But deep, I'm letting the lure sink and I'm jigging it right near the bottom. I might have to bully these fish a little bit, just wind them in to get them up. It's annoying that they're coming off. There's definitely a few in here, they're just scattered around. Another one to the shore. That's a big mackerel, that. Well, that one weren't coming off because he's foul hooked. Let's get the pliers. There we go. They're beautiful looking fish, these. I absolutely love them. They've got such vibrant colours. well, in the backs of them. I've given this one a knock on the head, but he's still a few nerves going. You can see there, you know, very much like a tuna, mini tuna basically. Great eating, great fighting, lovely fish. So that boat out there, heading back to the harbour probably, that's the local fishing charter boat Out the Blue, run by Richard Seeger. Now, I think he's got a load of Belgium anglers over at the moment. Oh, I'm in. There we go. Nice. Yeah, he's got a load of Belgium anglers over at the moment. They've been doing reef fishing for big pollock. I saw they were out yesterday. And I'm actually out with him next week on a work trip, so God, this one's going some bloody hell. There we are. There's another mackerel down. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's put him in there. So yeah, Out the Blue fishing charters. Anyone who ever comes to Guernsey wants to go out on a charter trip, get hold of Richards. So just the 3 mackerel so far. I've lost another 3 or 4 I think. I've got about half an hour left until I need to be somewhere, so I'm going to give it a few more chucks. I'm actually going to change lure to another little metal I've got here. I bought some metals recently for when I went to Cyprus, although I didn't end up doing any sea fishing, so they're all brand spanking new. These ones are quite big, as I said earlier, because really they're intended for different species, but I've got a little 30 grammer in cotton candy here, 2 assist hooks on there, so we'll chuck this one on. This is 10 grams lighter than the other, this is 30 grams, but we'll see if we can hook a few on one of these. Well, the lure works. First cast, on the drop, without really having to even reel. Now obviously a nert will work. I've said in the last video I put up when I was mackerel fishing, mackerel will pretty much hit anything shiny. They'll hit a bit of tin foil if it's got a hook on it. But, whoa, it's going some now. Is it going to stay on? Hopefully. That's a pretty fat one, that. And the lure works. On the drop, first cast. Can't complain with that. It's really nice to know the mackerel are here. Again, when I said I would have put a mackerel fishing video up before this one. And that was the first session of the year. And my first session last year wasn't until the 3rd week of May, I think. Middle of May, 3rd week of May. And I caught quite a few. And then after that, I actually struggled to catch many more mackerel. Whenever I tried, I was only getting 1 or 2. So it's nice to know that, you know, we're in April now. So it's a month earlier than when I was catching them last year. So hopefully that's an encouraging sign and they're not going to fade off, because I know in Guernsey and over in Jersey the last couple of years really haven't been great. Tend to be all right at the start of the season, and then even out on the boats people are struggling to catch them. I've just seen, you won't be able to pick it up on camera, there's a gannet flying in the sky there. Turning around and coming back this way. There we go. It's just dove again. I just seen a gigantic splash, and all I saw was a splash out the corner of my eye. Thought, what the bloody hell was that? There's that gannet coming down, it's just grabbed the fish, which I'm assuming is a mackerel, flown off, and then it's just dove again. I absolutely love watching those things hit the water, they're incredible. To be fair, it dove pretty far out, further than I can cast with this lure against the winds. But it found the fish. Still there in the sky. You can see it. There we go. Bang. Amazing creatures. The speed that they hit the water is crazy. Must be hitting mackerel, unless there's like launce or sand eels or something, but I really got to go, but I'm going to give it one more cast over there. So that's going to do it for my little outing this afternoon. It's been a lot of fun. I've got 4 mackerel in the end to keep. I've lost maybe 4 or 5 others, but it's just out for a bit of fun really. They are so much fun on light gear, they really are. Yeah, it's nice to catch on a couple of different lures, try out a few different methods. As I say, it is only mackerel, they're pretty suicidal, they'll hit anything, but it's nice to play around every now and then. And it's a little surprising that they're taking big sort of 4-inch lures as well. So anyway, as it's looking at the moment, the signs are pretty encouraging for the mackerel for the upcoming season and into summer. Hopefully it doesn't phase out like it has the last couple of years. Hopefully we get a nice consistent run. Mackerel are now very not sustainable whatsoever, so yeah, I think there should be some regulations put in place. If you do happen to go out and do some mackerel fishing, just keep what you need. You know, there's no need to stock up, and people say, oh, I caught 50 mackerel, I caught this or caught that. That's great, but they end up just giving them away, and in my opinion, just take what you need each time. But anyway, that's enough babbling from me. I'm going to call the session short there. Now, I will be cooking some of these mackerel up. I may not link it to this video because it might make it a little too long. So if I do put it as a separate video, then please go check that out. It'll be up a day or two after this video goes out. But I hope you've had fun today. I certainly have. Thanks very much for watching. See you on the next one.